Welcome to the EWN podcast. Happy to tell you we're getting set to launch Season 5. The EWN podcast is produced for the Engineering with Nature program within the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Now here's our host, Sarah Thorne of Decision Partners.
Welcome to the EWN podcast. It's really hard to believe we're here to kick off Season 5. I'm here with Todd Bridges, Senior Research Scientist for the Environmental Science with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the National Lead of the Engineering with Nature program, and our colleague, Jeff King, Deputy Lead of the Engineering with Nature program at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Todd is the sponsor of the EWN podcast, and Jeff is our co-producer. Hey, welcome.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Todd. I can't remember the last time the three of us were together like this.
Thank goodness we have a podcast.
Yeah.
Before we get on and talk about what's coming up in Season 5, I thought it'd be good to take a few minutes to reflect a bit on Season 4. We had some really, really fabulous guests. And our theme, which, of course, Todd coined, was Up, Up, Up with Nature-Based Solutions. Todd, how do you think we did?
I think we did very well, in a word. I routinely encounter people in my travels who I've not met before who come up to me, and the way they introduce themselves is, I listen to the podcast. And I get tremendous feedback from folks all around the country. I was in California and Nevada for 2 weeks recently, and in both cases I had people come up to me I'd never met before telling me that they're fans and they listen to the podcast. There is clearly a desire and appetite for information about nature-based solutions, what we're doing in engineering with nature. And you know, the statistics, the data, we've had more than 24,000 downloads of our episodes across the 4 seasons. And we're in the top 14% of podcasts worldwide. And that's saying something for a government operation.
That's right.
Yeah, we have to compete with sports and comedy. So I think we're doing pretty well. We've also got, in the last season, we've got the attention of leadership. And I know we've had a couple of leaders on our show from the Army Corps, but you're also getting feedback from other leaders. Maybe you could talk about that.
Yes, we had now Brigadier General Gant and Brigadier General Kelly on Season 4, and they spoke quite passionately, eloquently, substantively about innovation and leadership, and in particular, engineering with nature in that context, and the need for us to grow our practice and our enterprise across the Corps of Engineers to integrate these solutions, nature-based solutions, as a part of our mission and the work that we do in the Corps of Engineers. It was quite inspiring to talk with them and to hear them speak in such depth about that purpose.
Absolutely. I have to say, I was so moved by General Gant's advice to listeners. She said, be the change that you want to see. And I just thought that was such fantastic advice for students, for people that are early on in their career, for everybody that's a practitioner. And it was advice that she was given as a child, so by her mother, which I loved. I thought that was really inspiring. And that we followed that with just an incredibly powerful conversation with General Kelly. And then, Jeff, we had the opportunity to talk to some leaders who are integrating nature-based solutions into their work over the pond and making a huge difference in the work that they're doing. Maybe you can talk a bit about that.
That's right. That's right. So in episode 9, we had Julie Foley and John Hollis from the UK, and they talked a lot about their work and demonstrating how they, within the Environment Agency, are what they call mainstreaming nature-based solutions. And this was happening in England. And of course, they're faced with some significant challenges due to sea level rise and coastal erosion. And they're really focused on bringing people government, and coastal communities together. And they're really looking to create these holistic, long-term solutions to build community adaptation and resilience. So quite a really interesting episode, and learned a lot from it.
It was great this summer. I got to spend time with both Julie and John in England in the context of their coast and flood conference, and got to talk with them and colleagues in the Environment Agency and learn about all the great work they're doing and what they call natural flood management. They really are getting after, if you will, nature-based solutions. And John took me to visit several projects and sites in different contexts in England to see again where they're implementing these strategies in the field. It was enriching for me, and we were able to tell some of those stories and look forward to telling even more of them in the future, because it's so important to be able to learn from others and to see and to learn by their doing what can be done elsewhere.
Absolutely. And I think another big theme that we talked about in season 4 was innovation. And certainly the work in the UK fit into that category, innovation. But we started season 4 talking with your colleague, Amanda Treitinger, and Matt Bilski from University of Georgia about totally cool work that they're doing. And Jeff, I mean, I know you love this show. Why don't you talk a bit about it?
Yeah, it was a great opportunity to get my geek on and really do a deep dive into some really interesting technical information. And with Amanda and Matt and their work on sea storm modeling, and being able to use that model to predict storm events, looking at historical models derived from storms, and then thinking about the value of natural infrastructure and the importance of natural infrastructure on the landscape, particularly and along the coastlines, and the importance of natural infrastructure to create more resilience for coastal communities. And that was a big part of what they described in that particular episode, and really had a chance to unpack that a little bit. And certainly when we think about what we've seen here recently with large-scale damage as a result of Hurricane Fiona and Hurricane Ian, this really helps us to appreciate the work that they're doing with Sea Storm and the models and the value of this work, and being able to better understand where natural infrastructure can be placed on the landscape and how it's able to reduce storm risk.
And then we went on and talked to the Engineering with Nature practice leads about how they're applying some of this stuff on the ground. That was really, those 2 episodes that we did were really good too.
I agree. Yes, episode 2 and episode 3 gave us an opportunity to talk directly with our EWN practice leads. And that's Elizabeth Godsey, who's the technical lead for coastal engineering and regional sediment management out of Mobile District. We had Danielle Zamansky from the Baltimore District. She's a project manager and ecologist there. Eddie Brower also was there with us. He's a senior hydraulic engineer with St. Louis District. And finally, David Crane. He's an environmental resource specialist with Omaha District.
We also heard about really interesting innovation when we talked with Abby Hall, and who's a senior advisor with local and regional planning with the Environmental Protection Agency, and Jim McPherson from FEMA Region 1. And they're taking innovation to a new level, talking about a holistic approach to build community resilience. So I hope people will go back and listen to those episodes if they haven't heard them. They were terrific. And I just want to touch on season 4, episode 10, our last show. It was a pretty exciting show. We had a wonderful conversation with Koch Walkerholm, a world-renowned landscape architect from Thailand, and Derek Hoferen, who's chair of the Landscape Architecture and Urban Design programs at Washington University in St. Louis. And for those who haven't listened to this episode, Derek and his colleagues at the Sam Fox School of Design and Visual Arts are hosting Koch's year-long appointment, which is sponsored by the Pulitzer Arts Foundation. So that was an awesome show.
I got really excited about this one. Of course, anytime we're talking about landscape architecture, I can really appreciate the value of the work that they're doing and how it integrates so completely within the Engineering with Nature program. And Koch is the first landscape architect to receive the UN's Global Climate Action Award, and we had a chance to talk with her about that. And it was quite an honor to really have that opportunity to learn more about her work and where she's using nature-based solutions in urban settings and to better understand that. And then also with Derek and his work on integrated water-based design strategies for major river basins like the Mississippi. And that created a wonderful exchange to better understand the importance of use of nature-based solutions and the focus of their work and how they're doing this in various areas around the world. And so just a really exciting conversation.
The podcast is illustrating and seeding, I think, to a degree, very important conversations. Conversations across the Corps of Engineers, among leaders, among practitioners, and importantly, with our stakeholders and our partners. And these conversations are important for moving us forward conceptually, intellectually, and in terms of how we are implementing projects across the country, because there's a lot of important work that needs to be done to address the challenges and the opportunities that are ours in this country and are reflected in contexts all around the world.
That's right. And I really feel so honored to be part of the Engineering with Nature program and having this front seat, if you will, being able to observe everything that's happening within the program and how we're able to work with so many interesting people and so many different organizations and really thinking about this idea of engaging across organizational sectors and how critical that is to be able to deliver these innovations, these ideas that become solutions to many of the different challenges that we're facing, not only now, but also what we will experience in the future with climate change.
Let's talk about season 5, because we're all pretty excited about our lineup. We really want to take these ideas and continue the conversation. I think that when we look back over the first 4 seasons, we've really expanded the conversation about engineering with nature, the application of natural and nature-based solutions, the innovation, the gee whiz science and technology, and we've had all different kinds of guests. So let's talk about some of the key themes that we're going to cover in season 5.
The administration has made some serious commitments with the President's Executive Order 14072 in regards to accelerating implementation of nature-based solutions. And we're going to be talking about the commitments that are made within that executive order and how they will be kind of rolling out and rolling forward in the months and the years to come. That's going to be a very important discussion. And Engineering with Nature for the last 12 years has been, convergent with this movement that's epitomized, I guess you might say, in the executive order.
We've got some big name guests coming on, but we're not going to give away the shop today. And we're going to be focusing a lot on cool science, innovation. Jeff, what do you think? What are we going to talk about?
Well, season 5 is really shaping up to be incredible, frankly. And we continue to see a lot of growth within the network for Engineering with Nature, and I feel like we're going to have an opportunity to talk about that and all the wonderful new relationships that are now starting to coalesce within the network. So that, to me, is really exciting. Then, I also want to spend some time doing a deep dive into more of the technical work that's happening out there. We're getting a lot of good feedback from the listeners. They want to hear more about all the technical work that's going on. I think they want to get their geek on too. So we're going to make a point to make sure that they get that information and share some of the wonderful stories that different scientists and engineers are doing, both in the laboratory as well as in the field. And so those are some of the things that sort of jump to mind for me as being exciting and that I think our listeners will enjoy.
One of the major themes I think that we'll see come forward in season 5 is the value of nature. And this causes me to put a little advertisement in. We're hosting a national summit at the National Academies in Washington, D.C. on the 30th of November. This is a public event in person as well as opportunities for people to participate virtually. And the name of the summit is Measuring What Matters. And nature's role and value and contributions to society are going to be foremost at the summit, where we share our experience in a recent policy research project within Engineering with Nature on how we can assign and evaluate and analyze the benefits that come from investing in nature-based solutions as a part of infrastructure projects. And we're inviting a host of others from other agencies, federal and state and local, as well as private and nonprofit organizations to come have a dialogue with us about what they're doing in this same space so that we can expand the benefits that come from public and private investment in conventional infrastructure and, importantly, nature-based solutions.
And that's very exciting. And just for our listeners, if you're interested in participating and joining remotely, we will have that information on our website. So you can go to engineeringwithnature.org and be able to find that information, be able to go and register, and that way you will receive the information needed to be able to join us.
So we're going to really talk in season 5. We're going to pick up and we're going to talk to brilliant scientists, engineers, policymakers, leaders, authors, students, landscape architects, and others. All of these people who are really making a difference in realizing the benefits of nature. They're doing it. They're not just talking about it, to Todd's point. They're doing it. So that's
right.
What we're focused on in season 5. We can't wait for the season to launch. Season 5 starts on November 30th, and we hope that everybody will tune in.
Bring it on.
That's right. Oh, I tell you, I'm getting excited about this.
Bring it on.
So season 5 is on the way. It's coming soon. So make sure you follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you hear, be sure to share it through your social media networks. Leave us a rating and a comment. For more information, you can visit our website, engineeringwithnature.org. The EWN podcast was developed by Sarah Thorne and Jeff King, Deputy National Lead, Engineering with Nature Initiative, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The EWN podcast is produced by iContact Productions for the Engineering with Nature program within the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I'm Dave Trafford.